Now it's once again time to have a look at the Oldschool Runescape market this month, and one of the biggest narratives I've noticed this month is the price of certain heavily botted items. Now it's pretty difficult to know how many bots are active in Oldschool Runescape at one time, but subjectively I've noticed that there's been less at some of the popular moneymakers I go to, such as probably the most notable one this month is blood shards. Look at blood shards, they got so expensive, up to nearly 14 mil for a singular blood shard. Now the Blood Fury is incredibly meta right now. You can use it at so many different bosses because often you don't lose a max hit over the torture. So Blood Fury is really popular, which means blood shards are really popular, and the only reason that they are normally somewhere between 5 and 6 mil is because you can get them quickly thieving, and there's a lot of thieving bots. But it looks like over the last couple of months, Jagex has been annihilating them because the blood shard more than doubled since May. And it's not just that item either. If we look at the Zenyte shard, another shard, I mean, these graphs look almost the same. Mid-May, they jump up by about double. Started to peter off a little bit, but still. Zenytes have gone up from 9 mil back in May up to a peak of around 17 mil. So it definitely seems to be related. And another item I've noticed that has gone up a lot, more than the other two actually, is the Voidwaker Blade. They must be absolutely demolishing Calvarion bots because the Voidwaker Blade was only 5 mil back in April. But it's been on a very rapid increase all the way until last month, where it peaked at 30 mil. Went up 6 times in value in just 2 months, which is insane. Even banning bots, I'm surprised that it's gone up this much. I'm assuming RDO is now the easiest bot to bot. Like, if you look at all the component pieces, the hilt and the blade are now pretty similar, so I'm not entirely sure why this had gotten so cheap, but it has rebounded quickly. Now another big price increase this month is actually on the Perilous Moons armor. The biggest beneficiary is the Blue Moon Tassets, which have gone up from 2.5 mil to 9 mil this month. For what is kind of a Barrows-esque level piece of gear, I mean, in the way that you obtain it, it's gone up a lot, which means the Moons Apparel is actually a pretty profitable moneymaker for mid-levels right now. I'm not entirely sure why it went up this much, but all of the Perilous Moons gear was a bit underrated at launch. But I think the flexibility offers and not having negative bonuses and giving a tiny bit of strength bonus fills the hybrid niche really well. So Blue Moon Tassets have gone up a lot. Blood Moon Tassets have also gone up a lot, from 3.8 mil to I think about 8 mil this month. These are also incredibly strong. Honestly, the entire Blood Moon set has gone up a lot. The Blood Moon chestplate over doubling in price. And even the Blood Moon weapon has gone up double this month as well. Once again, I think it went a little under the radar, but it's literally as good as Bandos offensively, while being still significantly cheaper. So now that the Project Rebalance has been out for about a month now, how has the market reacted? Well, by and large, most of the items didn't actually change a whole lot with the actual implementation of Project Rebalance. In the end, most items didn't change in price that much. Like the Harmonized Orb started at 480, currently is at 480, so it didn't really change that much. The Ancestral Rope Set started at 380 and is back down to 380 again. So a lot of items followed that trajectory. But some of the items were a little less certain on how strong they'd be from the changes. For example, the Soul Reaper Axe peaked, but is still trending upwards and has still gained over 100 mil in the last few months. Probably the item that people were most looking at this month would be the Elder Maul. The item has clearly been heavily invested in, and as soon as the Project Rebalance hit, everybody sold, which tanked the price of the item within minutes. Luckily, I only need a few minutes to make a delicious meal from today's video sponsor, Factor. So as we watch the Elder Maul price crash, we can start cooking a Factor meal. It's that quick. Factor takes all this stress out of meal planning and allows you to get chef-prepared meals delivered right to your doorstep. Probably one of my worst or most expensive habits is getting takeout food all the time. I honestly get it so much, but Factor is a great replacement for it because not only is it cheaper than takeout, but it's just normally way healthier as well. Factor has over 35 meals to choose from each week, and they have stuff for most diets as well, like stuff for keto diets, vegetarian, or even vegan. They also have tons of add-ons for meals as well, so you can get like beverages, snacks, and even breakfast meals. So there we go, it's done. In just 2 minutes, we now have a delicious meal to eat. We didn't have to go to the grocery store, find a recipe. It's just easy and stress-free. Right now is a great time to try out Factor because they're actually giving a pretty big discount to my channel viewers. All you have to do is click the link in my description or enter the code FlippingJun50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders as well. A huge thank you to Factor for continuing to support my channel and sponsoring today's video. The Elder Maul was probably the most speculated on item of the last couple of months, and there was a pretty big price crash as soon as the update came out and everyone started dumping their mauls. It recovered to 160 mil and is now trending downwards, but still seems to be retaining the original price of around 140 mil that it jumped up to quickly after the announcement. However, the Dragon Warhammer is in the dirt, definitely. As soon as the Project Rebalance came out, it dropped 10 mil almost immediately and is continuing to trend downwards. Less so to do with the actual Elder Maul change, I think more so to do with the fact that it is just a much more common drop now. More Dragon Warhammers are going to be coming into the game, definitely, and it's no longer best in slot, so that's not helping either. Okay, so just a couple hours ago, we had a new Slayer boss proposal. It's actually a RuneScape 3 boss called Araxxor. Now it's going to be a high-level Slayer boss that's going to drop the new best in slot melee amulet. And already the market has reacted a bit just based on pure speculation. I mean, the Serpentine Helm already jumped up by about a mil. A bit of a reaction, yeah, probably. I mean, who's going to want to use the Serpentine Helm at a Slayer boss? Realistically, might not be used that much, but who knows, maybe you can do it off task. We'll see about that. Anti-Venoms have jumped up a bit as well, albeit not that much. And we also have the Scythe, which jumped up a bit. Probably in reaction to this. I mean, since you'll likely have to melee the spider, the Scythe is probably just going to be best in slot. Now we're just checking in the next morning because I went ahead and looked at the Scythe again and it actually jumped up more than I imagined. Jumped up almost 100 mil overnight and is currently at 1,327 mil, which is kind of notable for one reason. It is now more expensive than a Tumican Shadow. Barely. But the Scythe really has had a glow up this year because now the Tumican Shadow is now officially the cheapest mega rare item. Now the new amulet is going to be better than the Amulet of Torture, and it has dropped a mil already today, but Zenates are all tied together, so the market probably won't react that much. But it is definitely interesting to see the initial reactions. For Mage Gear, most items didn't change in price much, but a few did tank. Mainly the Arcane Prayer Scroll. That thing dropped right back down again immediately. A lot of people already have this prayer. It's been out for so long now. It's been dirt cheap for forever. It's not like people need to reacquire it, so I think this is just a ton of speculation on the Arcane Prayer Scroll, but it has dropped quickly still. Back down to where it was a year ago, which is kind of impressive. One very small winner here was actually the Malediction Ward. I'm not entirely sure why people forgot about this, but I think relative to the other offhand shields that now give a 2% magic damage bonus, it is just way tankier. Its niche originally was a tank mage shield, but now it has the same offensive capabilities, more or less, as the other shields in its class, so I think most people will probably pick up the Malediction Ward over the Mage's Book or something like that. So once again, the manipulation is back with stale baguettes. This item remains still incredibly rare, even though it has dropped now from 2 random events, but still, it's absolutely useless. But it has jumped up from 600k to 2.4 mil this month, making it one of the items that has increased the most. Now on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have the item that has dropped probably the most in the last couple months, and that is the Teleport Anchoring Scroll. First one selling for around 30 mil, which was pretty overpriced. This month alone has dropped from where it was at 2 mil down to 700k. Even though this item is pretty rare, they're from zombie pirates, and zombie pirates are incredibly easy to kill. You can kill 1,000 of them in an hour if you're using a Venator bow and a cannon, so there's really no hope. The bond has been up and down a bit over the last month. It did crash, in quotation marks, down to 11 mil. Ooh, such a steal. But just continues to power upwards super quickly. Really just, we talked about it last time, but there's just so much gold inflation. Things like zombie pirates, not helping. I've tried them out a bit this month. Super overpowered for what they are. There's so many bots here as well, like 5 or 6 per world. Yes, PKers are killing them, kind of. But they're just like one iteming, banking the things constantly. So yeah, there's just tons of GP coming into this game. Oh my god, so this just in. Jagex has increased the price of a bond again, which means already insanely expensive bonds are probably going to get more expensive. Looks like they've increased the bond price by about $1, which is about a 10% increase depending on where you're buying it. So just in the last couple hours, the bond already increased another mil, bringing it well past 14 mil right now. So you know what that means? One bond is enough to buy the Osmundton's Fang. Why am I comparing those two? I don't know. The Fang is down to 14 mil today though. That's insane. Literally a blood shard was more expensive than the Fang just a few days ago. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next market recap.